Hop and Cisco, we're back at you. Well, I'm gonna open up with this, right? Everybody needs to open their eyes, right? They need to use their real eyes to realize the real lies that the governments tell. With that, you see what's on my head, right? It's the red, white, and blue. The thing that I used to put a lot of thought into because it was symbolizing where I was from. I cared about it. But from this episode on, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. This ain't my country no more. It's not. It was stolen from me. And yes, I am pretty angry about it. And, it hurt me to do that. But I'm not going to wear it. I'm not going to let it bring me down. Because our leadership is shit. And that's where I'm at, guys. So with that, a one-finger salute to our cumdumpster and queef. Fuck you. Give me my motherfucking country back. Would you like to add anything to that little rant?
Oh, yeah. A whole lot.
Let him fucking have it. Why don't you let him know where your mind's at? That's where my mind was at.
You know, you'll hear a lot of people on independent media, a lot of people, a lot of patriots, a lot of good people, warning against getting violent with the operatives that are being sent out to eat our substance, as the Declaration once professed. I am not of that mind. No, I'm beyond that. I'm beyond that because anybody who's not beyond that is not alive, is not awake, and is not paying attention. At this very moment, this conversation should be being had in the houses across America. People should be recognizing what has been being said to them ever since the imposter took the White House.
Cumdumpster and queef, please.
There is a reason why even prior to this fetal specimen reject, whatever, I don't know.
The one mistake his mom had was not swallowing the seed.
I don't have the words to describe the wretch that calls himself the leader of the free world.
How about evil piece of shit?
But
creepy child, head sniffing.
But birds of a feather flock together, and as such, the Pope and him are meeting today.
Well, I mean,
and how appropriate.
The apple don't fall too far from the seed either.
That we chose this day to have this conversation. Because what needs to be said and what needs to be heard by the American people is your government that you grew up in. You know, the one that allowed you to strive for your goals, your happiness, your dreams.
Gave you a false one of a future that they weren't going to give you.
To save money, to purchase a home.
Go to college.
To go to, well, not even college. Just to learn a trade, become productive, chase your dreams. Whatever they might have been.
That was what they were pushing at that time, though. And
but
that's the jadedness of our society is, it'll be our downfall too, is that we believe our government.
But that government that was there to oversee that process was taken away over the past several decades.
No. This has been going on since the founding of our country.
And then you got a brief reprieve in Donald Trump. He tried as hard as he could.
I can't agree with you on that, because look who he put in charge. He left them same Zionist fucking pieces of shit there. He brought them in.
And I agree with you there. Trump was...
And he's one of them, so we knew it.
You know, and in a lot of ways that can be... You can argue it was naivete, whatever. Bottom line is, he left a lot of unfinished work before he left.
Maybe that was his purpose, to bring the division, and then Biden was just to finish it all off.
That is a theory.
I mean, because I remember growing up in the 80s, there was a conspiracy theory that Trump would bring about the end of the world. I don't know if you remember that. It was late 80s, it started coming out, like when he became president, it'd be the end of the world and shit. And, I mean, we're close, I think. Or at least close to the end of the United States.
But what I'm saying is this. What the American people need to understand, and what the few members of the Senate and the Congress that still work for the American people, what they need to understand is this. And this is not me saying that I want this to happen. I'm saying historically, history teaches the very next steps are going to be the political assassinations.
Yeah.
That's going to be followed by a lot more outrage and a lot more division in the people, which will lead to conflict.
Oh, well, that's one way.
They are stoking this on purpose, and they are parading their perversity in your face.
We'll get to that. That's on the list.
So what I'm saying is, people need to understand they have declared war on you.
And your children.
On you and on what you stand for.
Yeah. And if you don't have morals, then you know you're not standing for shit. But if you have morals, this is a direct attack at you.
And I'm going to tell you like this. These are classic bullies. You know who else were classic bullies? Nazis. When you look at historical context of person-to-person encounters with soldiers and Nazis on the battlefield, you'll notice that there was always a common thread. That the Nazis were always, they would always smile in your face, real sly. And then they would try and stick you.
Mm.
Well, you have a government smiling in your face, and they're trying to stick you. This time, instead of a bayonet, they're trying to stick you with a needle.
Yeah. And that juicy juice.
So, understand that the government that occupies the federal side of our law right now is actively declaring war on you.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's breaking laws by just letting immigrants come in.
So
he's breaking laws by just enacting.
So you wanted to know what I had to add? Well, that's what I have to add.
Orders, you know, he's so illegal. When are some of these lawyers gonna stand up and say, "Yo, fuck this, we're gonna sue you, we're gonna do what we can," or don't you guys got the set? I'm not a lawyer, or else I would do it.
You can go back
because I'm not scared.
You can go back and check the videos. I said it several videos ago, and I'll say it again. No government that has ever seized the power and control that this government has over this pandemic has ever given it back without violence.
Yeah, well, I've been saying that it's easier to lose them than gain them.
And now
since day one.
And now you're seeing it firsthand. And people, you need to recognize what is being done right now. And you need to understand that the tally in this war is rising with every single person that drops from the COVID shot. And they just started dropping. They're going to start dropping. They just
dropped the age, too.
They're going to start dropping in more numbers, more frequently. from these
And they're
shots.
just
And
going to keep blaming it on breakthrough cases.
And every single time they do, you need to understand that that is another casualty of war. The war against you.
And, you know, it's our own...
That's what I need to add.
It's our own Dr. Falsey that, you know, funded this. My question to the lawyers is, why ain't we taking him out of his political seat and be like, yo, look, you lied to Congress. That is a felony. You now do your jail time. I know, look, I must be straight up with everybody out there. You know, my past is my past. I fucked up and I owned it. One of my fuck ups was selling weed. I got caught in the school zone. And I had a little bit of coke on me too, because I was getting rid of that as well. And, you know, I couldn't get away with that. I had to pay my consequences for my actions. But there is no consequences.
If you're Hunter Biden.
Or Anthony Fucky.
Yep.
Or these even people, the
these
pedo.
People can say what you want. I believe that those girls were minors. So these people can molest minors.
Well, we know that. Look at all.
In the case of Hunter Biden. In the case of his dad.
Oh yeah, there's proof. I'm sure.
You know, no, there's video proof of him grabbing little girls inappropriately and everything.
Well, sniffing heads, open mouth kissing his granddaughter on TV. So
these people can actively flaunt laws meant to protect our kids in our faces, pass legislation
that gives the parent no right to say if their kid can get the shot or not.
That deems parents domestic terrorists.
If we voice an opinion contradictory to theirs.
You don't have to be a genius to do the math on this.
It's not Common Core.
You don't have to be a genius to do the math on this. They're telling you in no uncertain terms, and they've even said it in verbatim in their own words. If you go and you look up the videos,
we're coming for your children.
They've declared war on you. Understand what they've done. Recognize it. And you better start looking at it as it is. It's a war. It's not. Stop looking at it through rose-colored glasses.
Stop being woefully ignorant. You know, and I said this before, and you won't.
The war started when they stole your country. They stole your country through a fake election on the world stage.
It's unfortunate that these people want to remain willfully ignorant. And it's unfortunate that these people out here believe that our government will not hurt them. But what's even more unfortunate is it's up to people like me and my brother here to fight for them people so they don't lose their freedoms because we don't want to lose ours. That's just, it's sad. It's sad that we pussified a generation and indoctrinated the ones before to be open with it and okay with it and just being okay for being willfully ignorant. It's a shame.
I know people who have worked hard their entire lives. Worked multiple jobs, worked their fingers to the bone, that will never see $500,000 in their accounts. Ever. And right now, you have people occupying your offices of power that are getting ready to give $500,000.
Hold on. All right, guys. He's getting a little ahead of himself, but that's because he's very concerned with this, and he feels it's a slight against the American people.
It's not just a slight, dude. It is a giant fist up your fucking ass without Vaseline.
But let me just run down what we're going to cover today before we jump into it, because that opening monologue between their duo ended up being an extreme one there. But it's okay because you know what? What do I have to lose? The only thing you can take from me is my life. The only thing I'm scared of is not being able to protect my family. That being said, what we're going to cover today, we're going to cover the New York Times telling the UK government to stop publishing data on the coof and the juicy juice. We're going to run down Boris Johnson and how he told a group of kids that how would the world be different if we fed people to animals. I'm going to touch on a living cell nuero probe. Living cell nuero probe. Let that sink in. We're going to talk about the Florida elementary school principal who took her class to a gay strip club. And I think we're going to go first with this because you're so passionate about it. Our cum dumpster and queef wants to give illegal immigrants whose families were broken up $450,000 per person. So if there's 4 people in that house, they just got $2 million. Run with it.
As you heard me beginning to break down earlier, I know lots of people that I would consider dreamers that were born here, that were raised here, that have or should have all of the protected rights and privileges of an American citizen.
Because they were born here.
Because they were born here.
Technically, they are.
You know, yeah, maybe they were born in the ghetto, but they were born here.
Yeah.
And they'll never see $500,000 in their account.
Man, I'll never see $500,000 in my account either. Let's be real with it. No average, everyday working man is going to have $500,000 in their account.
And some of these people have never broken a law, never gotten a parking ticket.
But some of them have.
And we have.
Some of them are straight up killers. But they'll get $500,000.
And we have people that gave a giant fuck you to our immigration laws.
And to our taxes.
And they're going to get $500,000 free money. Per person.
And, you know, a lot of the how do I want to word this so I don't sound so fucked up? Well, a lot of the people that are from down there, you know, they procreate like rabbits, so to speak.
New York City.
So if there's 8 people, man, look, where is this money coming from?
We've got New York City first responders.
Police, medics,
that dug
firefighters
through the rubble of 2 incinerated buildings
by our government
that will not get the benefits that
some
they
of them won't get shit.
that they deserve, and they are willing to hand $500,000 apiece. Let me put that in perspective for you people. You have vets that are coming back, limbs blown off.
We got vets that got sick from their juice that they're not fucking taking care of.
And yet, they want to hand people who broke our laws, have not fought for our country, have not bled for this country,
have not taken any kind of citizenship, don't know what we're about or anything
whatsoever,
not vetted,
and they want to give them $500,000 of your money, of my money, of his money.
It's actually your children's debt because we're not paying this off. Let's be real about this. Right. Our kids are. Their kids are.
Right.
So, you gotta want your kids to pay for someone else's fucking illegally coming up here anyway? Like what the fuck?
So, you know, say what you want. You can live in denial if you want and act like there's no war. But the country that you grew up in, the ideals that you grew up with, if you are any older than 30,
Yep.
it's a smoldering ash right now.
Yep.
They have laid waste.
It's not made in USA. It's destroyed.
And now they're starting to piss on the ashes, and they're starting to piss on your faces and tell you that it's lemonade.
I don't like golden showers.
Will you accept it? That is my question. Will you accept it?
By not even speaking up, they're accepting it. And then let's be real. Once again, this willful ignorance thing that keeps rearing its fucking head up is a lot of the problem with that. And then the other half of the problem with that is people don't want to believe that we live in a such corrupt society where our government would be bad. People don't want to believe it.
They need to shake themselves loose.
Yeah, because let's face it, we were brought up differently. We were taught differently.
And they need to understand what they're seeing, what they're witnessing. It should not jive with what they were taught.
No. Well, that's once again if they're our age or older,
and they should stop trying to make it fit and accept the fact that it doesn't fit.
But see,
they
make it fit by changing the meaning. that's that's what they've been doing since day one of this shit. Changing meanings, kicking common logic out the door, and introducing medical tyranny and poverty through their theft of our taxes.
I know years back I was warning people about the empty shelves. I was warning people about the pandemic. I was warning people about all this, and everyone wanted to say, oh no.
Oh yeah, because they really started getting vocal about it around 2011 to 2016. I mean, it was even in video games. I think it was Splinter Cell or something, was talking about La Palma. Huh, I wonder why. Was there a monarch butterfly somewhere around there?
Well, now you're seeing the empty shelves.
No, you're seeing the culmination of their.
Now you're hearing the truckers say that it's not them not wanting to work; it's the fact that the actual government is regulating them out of
so
work.
Heavily. Yeah. Well, I mean, that started in the 80s. That's when my grandfather had to give up his trunking company, because he made a great life for himself. I remember when I was a little kid, he was still doing it for himself. I think he had to give it up in like 84, 85, somewhere in there. But he had to give it up because they keep regulating and pushing out more rules that are too hard to follow because you gotta get stuff done, and
last year they wanted to browbeat and they wanted to lie to you and tell you.
But their rules are for us, not for them.
That the hospitals were filled with COVID patients, even though there were tons and tons of videos to the contrary.
Nurses dancing.
This year, they want to sit there and lie to you and tell you that the emergency rooms are full of sick people because they're unvaccinated.
Well, no. They're saying there's more breakthrough cases.
Well, now they're admitting that.
Is what they're saying.
Now they're admitting that. But in the beginning, they wanted to browbeat the people and tell them it was the unvaccinated.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I remember that. But still, I mean, it's out now.
Now we need to understand. We need to understand why you threw that shit over there. We need to understand
because that doesn't represent me no more.
Exactly.
That's not who I am. Because my values and my ruling class are not my values.
Right.
I'm not gonna go open mouth kiss my granddaughter and fondle little fucking kids. Like, any man that does should be fucking castrated and fucking drugged by their balls from the back of a pickup over fucking glass. But it just irks me.
People need to understand this. Like, his outrage, that right there, that is justified. That's how you should be feeling. Knowing these facts should make you want to scream. In the words of Janet Jackson, should make you want to fucking scream.
Sorry. But truth be told, guys, this isn't our country. And it'll only become our country again when unfortunately we take it back. Now, it's still hard for me to not condone violence because, I'm still trying to lead with a good heart. And to me, that means not to start the fight, but to finish it if it comes my way.
They are openly discussing burying healthy trees. Let me repeat that.
I heard that.
They are discussing cutting down perfectly healthy trees and putting them in mass graves to fight carbon.
But that doesn't make sense. Not even from a scientific standard or standpoint.
We have
because do not trees breathe in carbon and release oxygen. Where the fuck is the science now, bitches?
Like this is what world we are living in now, and I understand why people want to look away. I understand why this seems like it's
everybody
extreme.
else laughs at us now instead of wants to run with us.
But they need to understand that if we continue down this path as a society, what's left of society is not going to be much of one at all.
Well, let me be frank. Not literally, my name's Hoff, but let me be frank here. My line's drawn with my kids behind it. If you even put your toes on it, you will be missing them. Is that enough? Or do I have to explain more? I don't want to. Because I don't want my video to get banned. But that's where my line's drawn. Cross it, cross me, see what happens.
Like, I don't know.
Nation
bro.
aside, I could, that the leadership doesn't represent me, so I can't represent that leadership. So cross my line and see what the fuck happens.
You have mainstream heroes out there now, people that are on mainstream news that are openly saying that the time for being passive has long since gone.
And they started with that when they started threatening to kill unvaxxed people. Oh no, we need to take them, hold them down, and vax them.
And they're talking
put your hands on me, bitch.
You need to be active. That everybody needs to become activists like yesterday. And these are open mainstream heroes that are speaking like that. Now they are obviously going to be a whole lot more tame.
You know what? How about this? I got to challenge America.
Than someone like.
How about you be active for your family, and instead of, giving up and splitting the home, be active together. Well, protect yourself. Protect yours. And that's the challenge. How about that? Can you do that, TikTok, or not? If not, fuck off.
Well, here's the thing. There are they want us to think that we're isolated and there's not very many of us and blah 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 and we're conspiracy
theorists. That's one thing that reaches across the aisle.
But we're not, and we know we're not, and and I don't want to leave people completely hopeless, and so I will say this: anybody who's looking for a little ray of hope, look no further than right now. What's going on? You're going to see the worst and you're going to see the best down on the southern border. Why? Because you see openly ranchers and Minutemen and military.
You just showed me this before I came.
And Border Patrol all working together now trying to stem the tide and do what your federal government is openly refusing to do for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, they said it's the size of a small army, so wouldn't that be considered an invasion? If it is invasion, we must protect our borders.
So,
sorry to put it like that, but there's a right and a wrong way. Come up the right way, I don't have a problem. Come up the wrong way, you shouldn't even be here, get the fuck out. That's simple. I'm just sick of it. I am tired of it, and like I said, my line's drawn in the sand. I'm gonna say it again. Cross it and see what the fuck happens, because this is it. You cross that line, I'm going, something bad's happening, and I know there's gonna be no coming back for me from it.
So there's always hope. But what I'm telling you people is, war was declared on you. Recognize it, understand it. Get into
Nut up or shut up and do what they tell you.
get into
Yo,
a
do what they tell you.
a warlike mindset. Protect your family. Watch your six, and know your 20.
And even like sometimes it's better to have a couple people. Find those that are family, that are like minded, that always try to lift you up and stay with together because there's power in numbers. But make sure you know them people. Like I know my brother here. I'm taking him with me and vice versa. I know we'll add some to each other's lives always. Because we always try to lift each other up. You know?
I try to lift up anybody I'm around. A rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. But you know, there's certain people that I still won't try to take with me, even though I try to lift them up.
Well, there's a difference between, lifting people up and trying to rescue them. You can't rescue everyone.
I know. I remember us having this conversation when you were going through things. And it's just a different type of thing that requires the same knowledge. On to the next story. Let's talk about the New York Times. You know, this should just tell you all you need to know about mainstream media here. They're straight up telling the other governments to shut the fuck up with your coof numbers and your jab numbers and the side effects and all that shit because it goes against our narrative, basically. What the fuck is that? What happens to a nation when you give up logic and you burn the books? What happens? Lessons lost. That's what we're doing. We're losing ourselves. We're losing our what started as a good thing, our media. We've lost that. I mean, Mockingbird took that from us long ago. But it just goes to show you how deep the corruption is. And I believe if more people walked away from the news, I mean, yeah, it's happening, but, stop feeding into their bullshit. And or if you still do watch it, watch both sides and independent, and then you'll see the truth. Because, there'll be a little bit of truth in all of them. And if you watch all three of them, you should be able to discern what's right and what's wrong.
The truth is, the people that we are at war with are the same people we've been at war with since the beginning
of time.
It's those that seek the control through coercion, through taxation, through theft, through manipulation, through all things dark.
All things.
They are completely anti-liberty. And you'll recognize it as such.
No, they're just anti-freedom and pro-control.
So, recognize what a tyrant looks like and how a tyrant acts.
It ain't us. We just want our freedoms and to be left the fuck alone.
And when you see a tyrant, either take it out or steer clear of it and refuse to participate in its tyranny.
Yeah. I completely concur.
Because they have openly declared war on you, and believe me, when a tyrant sees you and recognizes who you are, make no bones about it, they'll come after you.
Well, see, another thing is, these little tools will say that the tyrants are using, they're just going to be tossed to the side with the rest of us once they're done with their plan anyway.
And that's the reason why I made my comment very general. And I just said, look, recognize what tyranny is. Tyranny is going to recognize tyranny, and it's going to gravitate towards it.
Yeah.
Just
as a flat feather flock together.
Just as people that are anti-tyranny, they're going to recognize a tyrant when they see it, and they're going to either repel, or they're going to repel violently.
Yeah.
So.
But a lot of that violence will come once they start crossing them lines that people drawn for themselves.
Well, that's the thing. They're
You heard me loud and proud when I drew my line.
They've already basically said that there's no line that they're not going to cross. They've told you that.
Yeah, I know.
They've told you that. They've said they're
We're
coming for your
coming
kids.
for your children.
So understand, they've declared it. So recognize it. Stop trying to look at it through and it
It's
is what
time for us to open our voices,
it
our
is.
mouths as one, and call it what it is.
It is what
and
it is.
not be scared.
If you don't want it to get violent, then when you recognize it, you need to call it out.
I don't think there's going to be a chance for it not to eventually get that way. I mean, the people pulling the strings are hell bent on destroying this nation.
Right now, they're limiting your food supply, and they're about to start rationing your energy.
Mm-hmm. Better learn how to figure out other energy sources.
And this is just as Christmas and Thanksgiving is coming around.
Uh-huh.
They want you as miserable as they can make you. They want to break you. They think they already have. That's the reason why they've been browbeating you for the last 10 months, 11 months now.
You know, Christmas may not be about Christ. To me, it's about, making other people happy. And you know what? I'm going to go out and do so this Christmas. And I'm going to make as many smiling faces as I can. Because that is the biggest motherfucking middle finger I can give to these tyrants. You can break my body, but you can't break my soul, and you can't break my heart.
To me, it's overwhelmingly sad. And why do I say it? Well, when I was coming up, it was during the era of grunge and punk rock.
Nirvana and
they were
Run DMC.
So anti-corporate, anti-establishment.
You gotta fight.
And
that's right.
And now some of those very same groups are the very same ones that are
talking about blowing the corporate heads just to get ahead in their mouth.
It's so sad for me to see this. We got an entire generation or two, depending on how you look at it.
Probably about two.
That love the state more than they love
their parents,
their fellow human being.
Yeah, well, yeah, and
I mean,
they demoralized us so much and blurred the lines of what values were.
If
more people value what people have than they do how they take care of themselves.
To put it into context, it's been well documented, well known that Fauci experimented on young minority kids during the AIDS epidemic, and nobody was outraged about that. But when it came out that he was doing some of these very same things to dogs,
yeah,
people got really outraged. And don't get me wrong, I'm outraged too. I'm a dog lover, always have been, always will be. But there was no outrage for the people that he's harming now, for the people he's killing now.
Oh no, there is outrage. There's outrage with the people that see it, but the vast majority are still stuck in, oh, he's a doctor. He gotta know what he's talking about.
He is a doctor.
He does know, and the whole medical system's meant to treat, not cure. You fucking idiots.
He is a doctor on the very same level as Mengele.
Or Kevorkian?
No, because
he was still a real doctor.
Right. Well, and Kevorkian wasn't trying to kill anybody who didn't want to be killed. They were seeking him out, and that was his whole argument in court.
Either way, he still dealt with it.
Right. No, and I get it.
But this guy's just dealing death too. So what's the difference between him and Kevorkian?
The difference is this guy is dealing death with a smile and telling the people it's going to save their life.
And Kevorkian was doing it because the people were miserable and didn't want to push on through their uncurable sicknesses.
Kevorkian, for whatever reason, was doing it from a stance of compassion.
I can understand that, though.
Whereas this guy is doing it because he wants to kill people.
Because if I was on my last legs with
and he's enjoying
cancer and shit, and I couldn't,
and he's enjoying the uptick in all these sicknesses,
And I couldn't be happy with how my life was. I would just ask the
all
same.
these breakthrough sicknesses that are just happen to
Oh,
appear.
they're vaccinated, but yeah. I mean, it's tough, man. It really is. It saddens me and it hurts me, but at the same time, it enrages me. It gives me power. It gives me the power to know that regardless of what words are said against me, what actions are taken against me, that I'm going to move from now on out with righteousness in my heart. They're not going to stop that. And, you know, if I got to protect my family and it costs me, then oh well. You know, at least I did the right thing. Can I move on to the next subject?
By all means.
I'm going to let you run with this after I read it off. We're going to talk about that creepy ass pedo, you know, Boris Johnson. And I don't know if you've seen the clip or not.
I did.
But he was in some kind of little, with little kids in some town hall, I think it was, with little kids. And I don't give a fuck if it was a joke or not. You shouldn't be joking like this. How the world would be different if we fed people to animals. At that topic. I mean, it's an elitist, and that's how they really feel, right? Just saying.
I mean, what do I add to that? Like, you said it. Like, again, this just goes back to, you know,
how much governments value their people.
Well,
this guy said he don't value you more than, you know, let's say dog food, cat food, fish food.
Like I said, I mean,
you know what? You can have cake, but you can be the cake too for the animals. How about that? Does that sound about right?
Well, I mean, look.
I mean, that really pisses me off. A world public figure or leader, whatever you want to call this pedophile fuck. Me, he's scum. But to have a leader talk like that, well, that doesn't make people think a certain, like, does that not ring a bell?
Well, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing as, you know, Miss Cortez attending a ball, talking about tax the rich in a custom-made, you know, multi-tens of $1,000 dress.
Wait, that bitch is rich too, so why don't we tax her ass? Oh, wait. I mean, I'm sure most of Congress already did when she was bent over.
I said that only to make an example of the fact that they've been doing this, like I said, pretty much ever since they stole the election on the world stage.
I mean, they've been caught on it. If we did it, it would be called insider trading. But, you know, it's all right for them, and I'm sure they didn't pay the capital gains tax on that. But, you know, we'll have to, or our kids will have to on anything they inherit from us.
You know, it's going to be real interesting, you know, following all of the new, you know, pop-up, startup, green new companies, and following, you know, just exactly which congressmen and senators are invested in what companies.
Oh, you can already see who's where.
And right, yeah, it's gonna be real interesting to follow these trends.
Yeah, because I mean they're making themselves on the same level as you know, maybe the Buffetts now with that, because they'll own it, and we'll have no choice but to obey and buy it, because there won't be any more gas cars. Think about that for a little bit. It's the same thing they did with these stimuluses, right? They gave us all this money and said, all right, here you go shopping. But what's open? Amazon, Walmart, Walgreens. All right, so now you're giving the elites your hard-earned tax money again. Take that dick, because that's what you happened. I know I'm not happy about it. Let's hit the kids one more time. I mean, let's talk about this Florida principal next. Took her class to a gay strip club. How would you handle that if you were a parent and your kid came home with pictures of here was a jungleberry punch with a banana on top? I would go overload. I would go berserker. Half smash. Fuck right. I mean, you're a lot more calculating than I am, but I go red with rage. I'm going to that school with that principal. I'm dragging that bitch out by her fucking hair. I don't give a shit. You warping my kid's mind and borderline, that makes you a pedophile in my book because you're taking the kids to a gay strip club and they're not even of age. And that's why I would take it out on that ass, motherfucker.
Well, I think the very first thing that I would do would be to get a list of the kids.
The best sniper rifles, I think you said.
Of the kids in my kid's class.
Oh.
And then I would go to each of their parents individually and ask them if they were aware of it. And if they weren't, make them aware of it.
And when you get that one special libtard that says, it's okay, they gotta be accepting of everybody, I'm gonna give that motherfucker a swirly. Right after I shit in their toilet.
I think that would be the very first thing I would do. And then those parents that felt as I did, and I would seek the most powerful out-of-state or in-state attorney. And that principal would be hauled off in shackles in front of everyone.
You're a better man than I am.
The very next day. Hold on.
I'm a better man than I
am. And if that did not happen, then I'm pretty sure, like I said, if they're parents like I am, it would.
Well, let me put it this way.
It would be handled.
You knock on my door.
It would be handled.
Hey, Hoff, check this out. This is what they taught at the school. You already know my views. I'd be right there with you. Except for where you're calling it in, I'm already going for that bitch. I don't give two shits. You're corrupting my kid's heart. I am not going to let that happen. I've worked too hard to help her lead with a good heart.
I mean, we've seen a judge already come out and tell an entire school board that if they did not immediately resign, that they would be charged criminally. I think that needs to happen more. I think it will happen more, but not enough. Because wherever it fails to happen, those kids are going to be damaged.
And that's when we're going to start seeing the division of our states.
So, yeah, that's what I got to add to that.
All right, now this next one, the last one that we're going to talk about here, I didn't get a lot of information on it, and it's something that's just starting to come out now. But if you don't mind grabbing your phone, going into Google, and looking up the living cell neuroprobe. Because that is scary. So now they made an attachment for humans that's made up of cells. They didn't say what kind of cells. But what happens if they?
Now, what do you have me looking up?
Living cell neuroprobe. It's newer and it's just coming out now. But basically, it's a computer that's made out of cells that, they could probably just inject you at that point. From that's at least how I kind of gathered it. But that's scary shit. Mix that with graphene.
Living cell neuroprobe.
Neuro neuroprobe. Yep. I think that's what they were calling it. I got the link. I just got it in my notes, so it'll be in the description. I thought I sent it to you. But I found it very, it's scary, man. Because you already know what they can do with this, the juicy juice. How they can grow it in plants and shit. You see the Graphene reacts to frequencies and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Mix that with this living cell brain attachment. What do you think? Did you find it?
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, man. But yeah, it's a living cell computer. So you put that in, who's gonna stop them from hacking that? That's just like any other kind of peripheral device, we'll say, that implants into your body. Like, you guys are okay with being a highly hackable, not even human at that point. But they're talking about making you a chimera, because they're putting other cells into you. They've already changed your DNA with this fucking, or RNA with this motherfucking juicy juice, right? That mixed with that, you're definitely not a human no more. You're a chimera. And times say all this would happen.
Yeah.
It's scary, right? You see that shit? But yeah, that's what it is. That living cell neuroprobe, something to be scared of, guys. And it all goes together because they're trying to make us a technocratic society. Me, I'm not okay with being a cyborg. I don't want them to be able to hack me and change me from who I am. The God-fearing man who strives harder and harder each day to live with a better heart. I don't I don't want it.
Seems like historically humanity has been here before.
Yeah. Well, this isn't the first fall of a civilization. Rome. I mentioned it earlier, that they twisted the sexes and guys were fucking guys and chicks were fucking chicks and, Tower of Babel fell eventually. Well, no, that was before, but, it came crumbling down was my point. And we're down the same path. It's rough. And I said this like one of our first podcasts. We're living in the current Babel. That's why I got my ideas crossed when I was speaking that out. But, and I believe that. I think and it's probably going to be either, if not within my lifetime, definitely within my kids' lifetime, that, revelations will be coming true. I mean, there's signs of it now. So I guess what I'm trying to really say is not only prepare physically, prepare spiritually. Try to walk with a better heart every day. And like I said before, also, God needs warriors too. And when you're ready to beat David, let's go find Goliath together.
I guess be the change you want in your immediate life. Do everything that you can do to affect the environment around you towards liberty, towards freedom, because
Towards happiness.
it's under attack, and the I want to say the tyrants are coming, but they're here. They've taken over.
Yeah, it's too late for that.
You're
when we first started, they were coming.
you're now living in the same country that you were born in, but now it's occupied.
Well,
And
yeah,
you need to understand that. And what proof do you need that it's occupied? Well, I mean, the UN opened up a military base here for the first time in history, so I think we're occupied.
well, yeah. I mean, they've already let how many, and I hate to be like this, but I'm gonna anyway. I don't care if I stir the cup, we'll say. But how many unvetted Afghanis did they let in? Not saying they're all bad. But we already know their beliefs different, or their values are different than ours, and it's unfortunate that there's more extremists there that are willing to go to the go to the end and get the 72 versions.
And they'll be played off against each other as well. They always have
Oh,
been.
I mean,
People need to wake up. They need to wake up. They need to understand what has happened. Look at reality for what it is. Take the rose-colored glasses off. Stop looking at the world how you want it to be, or how you think it should be, or how you wish it to be, and start seeing it for what it is. It's that.
corrupt,
It's that simple.
corrupt. It's like this, right? When I did my time for my less than a pound of weed, they kept the pedophiles in a separate cell block because they knew what people like me would do to them. Because even when I did my time, my son was a baby, which I fucked up, and that is one of my major regrets, that I did a little bit of time when he was a baby. That still hurts me to this day. But my point is, they kept them separate from people like us because they know what they would get. And I think it's twisted where somebody that can do the worst sin, which is corrupt a minor, gets away just about scot-free. Like that teacher that corrupted all them kids, or that principal. What's gonna happen? She's gonna retire. Guarantee it'll be just like everybody else. She's doing what they want them to do. All right, we'll take care of you. You're one of our tools. But don't get it twisted. Even tools get dull. Dumbasses. But you know what? You guys that are the dull tools, you will have to live with your regret. I will.
She'll get promoted, and you'll see her on some kind of UN council, probably for human rights.
With a dick down her throat.
I'm just telling you how it is. Like
So
I said, I took the rose-colored glasses off, and this is what it is. War has been declared on what's left of America's rotting carcass, and that would be us, those of us that still believe in
the
its
working
ideals.
class, because we ain't even the middle class no more. We just enough to get by.
We're the working poor.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's essentially it. But now maybe you guys can understand a little bit more about me, where I've been, what I've been through, and why I threw my bandana today. Which, when I started this, I didn't think this day would come. But here it is. But I just want to add one last thing before we sign out today, guys. There's something that's affecting me. One of my good friend's uncles, it's also his cousin's uncle, but I just need some help here because I don't know who to get a hold of. But his caregivers from the VA aren't coming in, and when they do, they half-ass it, say they're there longer than what they really are. They don't do shit for them. Who can I contact? What can I do to get this man some help? It's actually funny because I met that man before I met Cisco or his cousin. And that man showed me more love and respect than anybody else in that area. And from there, I bonded with him. So this hurts me. What can we do? Good night, all. And remember, one finger salute to Biden. Fuck you, you cum dumpster and queef.